for a while there, I was COO, right?
Hmm.
And you're applying to other COO jobs, and they're like, well, you weren't in this industry, and it's like, does it matter that I was in that industry if I'm running the operations? Like, I can learn your
Yeah.
industry. What you're hurting on is operations, and it was a real challenge because people who aren't in operations felt that they knew the decisions that needed to be made in hiring.
Ever had a conversation where you made a bold statement, then paused, tilted your head, and said, on second thought? Welcome to On Second Thought with Erick, Richey, and Bish Bates, where hot takes meet humble pivots, where leadership, life, and current events collide, and where it's perfectly fine to change your mind, out loud. Whether it's marriage, manhood, or the madness in the media, Erick and Bish bring humor, heart, and a little healthy debate, because wisdom lives on the other side of, wait, let me rethink that. This is On Second Thought. Press play and be ready to pause.
All right, so let's go ahead and get started. How you doing, man?
Good, man. Did you have a good Labor Day weekend?
I did. I played golf twice, so that always makes it a good weekend. Played golf
How do you
twice.
feel after that? Do you feel pretty good, or are you like drained?
Immediately after, I always want to take a nap. Like immediately after playing, I always want to sort of take a little bit of a nap. But aside from that, it's always enjoyable, man. It's always enjoyable being out there. You know what I'm saying? So you get to spend time with people you enjoy. Hopefully, people you enjoy, and and so forth. So, by the way, I want to see if you can tell a difference in sound. I'm about to turn my AC unit off. You tell me if you can hear it. You didn't hear that go off? Excellent. All right. All right. Well, I'll test it in post production because it is a little warm in my room.
Heat wave coming through Baltimore right now, huh?
Something like that, man. Something like that. Oh, by the way, we can go back to so here was the delay. I forgot that we were doing drinks. So I went and grabbed one right when I saw your message. I was like, oh, let me go grab a drink. And so I went to grab one. And of course, you know what this is, correct?
Orange Julius. Oh no, that's your French toast or cinnamon toast crunch.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Since we talked about it last
Cinnamon
time, I
toast
figured I would
crunch.
actually do it this time. So yeah.
Yeah, enjoy that cinnamon. No work today, so that's a nice day for a Tuesday, man.
Yeah, yeah. Well, took extra day off, just to sort of relax and not have to do too much stuff. So it was good.
Do you have
It
to
was
recover from all that golf? Like, is it?
no,
Or
it was
is
it
your
was
body used to it? Your body's getting used to playing golf this much.
I don't know if it's used to it, but it was a planned day off. So it wasn't like I was like tired and took the day off. It was a planned day off just to make the holiday weekend a little bit longer. I try to do it as much as possible so it allows me to use like a fewer number of leave days, but feel like I have these intermittent little, sort of staycation slash getaways or whatever you want to call it. So
Three
it's kind of
days of
nice.
work is not bad, man. 3 days of
Yeah.
work. Yeah.
Yeah. And by the way, the thing you caught me doing when you sent the message was I'm recording my first audio, the voiceover work I did. I was recording my first audio book through the Audible platform, which is called ACX. And I've been struggling really hard to get the editing to be right because ACX has very specific, stringent sort of requirements for what settings and what parameters the recordings come in. And I've been struggling mightily trying to get that right. And I thought I got it right about an hour ago, and then it started jacking up on me again. So
So
anyway,
you have the job, or you're trying to apply for the job?
I have a job. I'm narrating an actual audiobook.
Look at
Um,
you, man. Good job.
yeah,
Yeah.
but it's entry level. It's starter for an audiobook. It'd be the first full audiobook that I've done. So I'm looking forward to that part of it. But I am struggling with the technical aspects of it. The publisher was pretty nice about giving me some flexibility because my sample, because you have to do a little sample before they sort of authorize the rest of the book. My sample had technical issues in terms of meeting the requirements. So I'm still learning, still figuring it out, but it's all good.
Nice. I know you've been wanting to do voiceover work for a while, so this is a nice start for you.
Yes, yeah, yeah, and this is not my first voiceover job, but this is for like an audiobook. This is the first one that I'm doing. So yeah, it's
Like
pretty
more
good.
than 10 pages, you're saying like this is a big deal.
Oh yeah, yeah. This is it's a full on book. I think this particular one has maybe 10 chapters,
Pages?
something like no.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
chapters.
10
Okay.
chapters. Yes,
Run, bunny, run, run. Look at
right.
Bunny run.
I think
Bunny's
it has
running
10
fast.
chapters. Yeah. It's not a huge book, but it's good to start and hopefully I'll meet their needs and they can uh they can I'm trying to think of the word, but they'll be
have
somebody
more
I can refer
opportunities
to.
for you.
Yeah, create some additional opportunities and things like that. So that's what I'm hoping for. We'll see, but that is in fact what I'm hoping for. So,
Okay.
how was your weekend?
Good, good. I had the boys this weekend, but we had a lot of soccer planned because of a soccer tournament, but got rained out. So
Mm.
no soccer. So we ended up going to the movies. We had the theater to ourselves. I mean, there was one other couple
Oh, I was about to say
there,
like completely okay.
but basically the whole theater was to ourselves, but for this one couple. So it was pretty nice. The boys enjoyed it. So it was a cool experience.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, yeah. So not too bad. You know, when you have a full weekend of nothing with two
A
young
full weekend of
boys,
nothing. Yeah.
you have to fill that space because
Oh,
they are
okay.
bored
Yes,
instantly.
yes.
They wake up on board. Like you just woke up, you know, I finished playing a
What are we
video
doing,
game. I'm
Daddy?
bored. Yeah, what are we doing? Entertain me. I'm like, you're 10 and 12. Y'all can figure out ways to entertain themselves. So they get on YouTube. Like, that's not entertaining yourselves.
Wait,
But
tell me. Wait. So now you tell them to entertain themselves, and then when they do, you complain about what they decided to do to entertain themselves. Is that what I'm
I
hearing
didn't have
correctly?
YouTube when I was a kid. Entertaining myself was go out of the house and come back at dusk. You know, when the sun's going down, take your bike out, go somewhere. Do not get kidnapped. I think that was understood, and just go. I don't care where, just go. And my boys are not in that realm or anywhere close to it. So yeah.
Mm, okay. All
So,
right.
so we have to try to find time to fill that space right now. Create memories before they turn into teenagers and they don't want to spend any time with us at all, you know, and then they're always in their room or playing video games. So
Well, you could be really successful like me and make them not want to spend time with you even before they become teenagers.
even before
No, I'm
teenagers,
just
that's impressive.
no, it was it was around the teenager age. It was around
You
teenager age.
worked a lot when they were kids, though. That's not fair to you. You had to do a lot to hold it down. So
It's
yeah,
all
y'all
good,
were
man.
y'all were young parents. So
All parents have to do that. So
so what's on your mind this week, Bashara?
nothing, man. I'm just relaxing. I this week has been not too crazy at work. I've been trying to do a little bit of catch up, and so it's been it hasn't been too much. I honestly, this is a week I have not paid much attention to what's been going on in the world, which
Oh
has
wow.
been
A
the
bad
first
week to
time.
not do that.
Is it a bad week?
A
Why do you
bad
say
week
that?
not to do that. I mean, Catholic schools shoot up in Michigan,
Uh,
legally purchased firearm. CDC person got fired, so the rest of the CDC staff walked out because RFK doesn't believe in vaccinations for anyone who's not really elderly.
well,
So,
so you ran through two things, but let's do
mhm.
the CDC. So tell me exactly what happened with the CDC. So who got fired and what was the reason behind it?
Yeah, so a lady who's been there for I think short period of time actually in her tenure got fired because she wouldn't rubber stamp RFK's COVID, I think, situation where he took away the stipulations. And when you take away stipulations at CDC, it means insurance plans get to follow, and that means
Mm,
you don't get to use insurance to go get your vaccine. And now we run into another pandemic situation
ah,
inadvertently because kids don't have to be vaccinated now.
okay.
And anyone who's considered healthy, um, you know, which makes a lot of sense, like the flu or I don't know, scarlet fever. So I don't know what his thought process is here, but he's being called into Congress now. That they're back from vacation because remember they went on early vacation because the Epstein files were really ramping up and trying to get those things released and everything. It was not working, so they called it an early recess. So they're
Wait,
now coming
weren't they
back.
trying to avoid the subpoenaing? I'm sure that's the word you use of the files, and
Uh,
that's why they recessed early.
Yeah, they were trying to stop it from coming out, even though it started out as a big Republican agenda thing. Then it became too much. So yeah, now they're back in session and they're working on some real stuff like I don't know, thoughts and prayers for the people shot in Michigan and talking to RFK about why he doesn't believe in vaccinations again, even though when he was brought up originally during his hearing to become the head, he said this wasn't going to be a thing that he was going to do.
Yeah, but
And
they
now
all lie. Like
he's gonna
Supreme
do.
Court justices, they all say, I don't have a position on anything, and when they know what not to say.
The
I'm
law's
sure
the
they're
law.
all
I'm not gonna. I'm
coached.
not gonna backtrace the law. Now we don't have Roe versus Wade anymore automatically. So
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
I think they
yeah.
all
So
know what to say to get what one I would say to get confirmed. But the truth is that it's pretty
yeah,
much predetermined most of the time whether or not they're going to get confirmed anyway.
right.
So it's really just performative, right? The whole
Yeah.
hearings is all everybody knows if it's not your party's person, you're probably not going to confirm them. If it is your party's person, you probably are going to confirm them. And there's not a whole lot of intrigue in the whole process. It's just a lot of for show.
So the lies that are coming through during those hearings are like the equivalent to Casablanca. There's gambling going on here. What? I'm shocked. Here are your winnings.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
so
exactly.
it's just pushed through. So yeah. So it is unfortunate because it affects a lot of lives right now. And then that happened. That's happening this week or last week, and then. Uh, Texas pushed through the redistricting. So
Yeah, I
that
did hear that.
redistricting happened again. So now California is trying to balance that out with another 5. So Trump went to Missouri and asked them to find some more seats there as well. So it just continues to look pretty bad out there when you look at the political landscape of everything that's happening. There's like so many things happening everywhere that it's tough to focus on any one thing right now, which I don't know if that's a plan or it's just chaos theory coming to
Well,
life right
well,
now.
they've said
So
for a long time, shock and awe was part of it, right? I mean, just have so much going on that it's hard for them. It's like you're like the dog and Up, squirrel. You just, everybody's just going from one direction to the other because you don't have anything specific to really dig down and focus on. And so all of these things sort of happen behind the scenes. So it's just a smoke show, a smoke screen for the things that that they want to actually accomplish. I mean, and I think we have to recognize that and understand that and know that if there are things that we're in favor of, to be able to see through the smoke screen and then be in favor of, and if things that are against, be able to see through the smoke screen and to focus on those things that we want to stop from happening, right? So I think you have to see through all of that because that's what all it is. It's just a smoke screen, most of the stuff that's happening. It's just like, look, it's like a magician, right? Look over here while I'm doing the real thing on this side,
over here, yeah. So a couple of court cases came back against the Trump administration as well. The sending troops into LA was considered illegal by the judges. Also, his deportation of migrants without hearings have been found illegal as well. So some things are starting to slow down, hopefully, but I know he wants to push everything towards the um, Supreme Court because that's the people he put into place, and they seem to go with his flow a little bit. The Epstein files came out last week, as not the Epstein files, but interviewing his partner in crime,
Oh,
where
Ghislaine Maxwell, yeah, yeah.
yes, where she says, "Oh, Trump was a gentleman the whole time he was there, and I don't remember him ever making it to the island or anything." And yeah, so that also happened this week where she was interviewed by the Justice Department. So yeah, it was a busy week. It was a
Wait,
lot happening.
but
So
did we expect anything sort of bombshell to come out? One, because they released it. If there was a bombshell in there that was, unflattering or incriminating of the president, they would not have released it. That's
are
just the
you trying to
reality of it.
imply that maybe there was talks before the recording hit record and they said, "Hey, if you make the president sound good, there may be some sort of you know, relief for your time in jail, perhaps."
Well, that could have
And
happened. I'm
now we
not.
hit record. So.
Yeah, that could have happened. I'm not even suggesting it happened. I'm saying that if something that they did not want to be revealed was revealed, they either would not have released the recording or they
Sure.
edited it out of the. That's just going to be the reality. They're not going to. You're not going to. Especially because this is a big deal, right? They're not trying to. They've been trying to. Sort of put it under wraps as much as possible for a while. So they're not going to turn around and release something that's going to incriminate, the president. They're just not going to do that. Now, what sort of deal, if anything, happened before they even did the recording? Who knows? But
Yeah.
but they're not going to do that. Plus, here's the thing about her. I'm pretty sure she testified against Epstein, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct? Was she
Um,
like a states or countries witness against Epstein?
No, she always denied anything ever happened,
So
actually.
she just
So
she just
she's in jail. She held her tongue the whole time, and she's in jail. Yeah.
so
So
then why
there's
would
a
we think?
documentary on Netflix about
Yeah.
her.
So then why would we think that she would now start spilling the beans on clients if she's been holding her tongue the whole time? Right. She's in a particular position where she is, if you know, assuming she's guilty because she's in jail, she's implicit. She was part of the whole ring, and she was a woman trafficking other women. That is a very, very unique sort of evil, right? Of someone who does that. So I don't expect someone like that to then turn around and and start ratting on people. I just don't expect that to happen. And I think they
Right.
probably knew that as well, right? She knows how to keep secrets, and she's the kind of person who's willing to keep those secrets. And so they knew that. And so she was rewarded, presumably with a nicer place to live
That is true.
for
She
the
did get
next, I don't
moved.
know, 20, I don't know how long she's in jail for,
Well,
20
it
years, 30
depends
years.
on how soon Trump lets her out. He seems to pardon a lot of people who've done some really bad things, and you know, it seems to work for him. No one really pushes back or questions a lot of the pardoning that he does
Sure,
for
they question it.
convictions. Not enough. Not makes a difference.
Well,
So
well, what's the difference? Because the difference would suggest that you think that if people questioned it enough, it wouldn't happen. I don't think that's like part of what the calculus is. I don't think it's not going to happen because people question it. I think it's just reality. If he has the right to do it, he's going to do it, and he doesn't really care what people think. Well, he
yeah,
wants people to love him. Make no mistake
he
about it.
does like
He
people.
really
He
like
wants people to
people.
like him. Yeah.
He does want people to like him.
Yeah.
But ultimately, he's pretty. I haven't seen him overly influenced by the opposition, right? By other people on the other side questioning. I don't see him being influenced by that
He
sort of
doesn't
stuff.
get questioned by his own people,
Not
doing
much.
things that, I mean, I don't know how they go to their town halls and justify some of his actions and the pardons that he's put out there.
They
So,
don't. They get
right.
yelled down by. They don't justify it, right?
Yeah.
They try to do talking points associated with it, but they don't actually justify it. Again, I still think that people are. It's very easy to tell when someone doesn't believe what they're saying when they won't actually have direct conversation with you about things, right? When they point to other things, when they obfuscate whatever that word is, where they just put clouds up and make it unclear. That tells you
Yeah.
they don't believe in it. Because if they believed in it, they would go 10 toes down and say, "Here's the deal. Here's what I believe. Here's what's up." But they don't do that. They talk around it.
That is true.
They switch
So
track, as it's called. So
definitely done. So that's been yeah, the politics have been going on. It was a crazy week for sure. Yeah. And I try not to keep up with too much either. And those are just things that are highlighted actually. There's many more things that were happening this last week, which is pretty tough. So
well, football
yeah.
season is starting soon, and your Cowboys.
No,
No,
You're
no,
gonna
no,
go
no,
there. You're gonna go there.
we're gonna go
You're
there,
gonna
man.
go.
We're gonna
You're gonna
go
go
there.
there. Okay.
Your
Hold on.
Cowboys did an interesting move with with Micah Parsons. I really expected that to be I don't know, come through, be sealed, whatever. I thought he was going to get that extension. It seemed like a lot of theatrics, honestly, with it between Jerry Jones and him. It seemed like a lot of theatrics. So I was surprised when he actually got traded. I thought they were gonna keep him.
Yeah.
Were you surprised?
Oh, shocked. I mean, everyone I think was shocked about it. I think the surprising thing was, and surprising or not, you have to realize Jerry Jones bought the Cowboys on a handshake deal,
What do you mean?
then the paperwork went through.
Oh, okay.
Like he had a deal with the guy, shook hands, and then it was done. And I think that's the cowboy way, like
Okay.
yeehaw cowboy, not the Dallas Cowboys, but
Oh,
like just the old South. This is what we do, like our word is our word. And I think when Jerry Jones had the talk with Micah one on one without the attorneys present, and he agreed to 40.5 million, which seems kind of reasonable. More
he did.
he did, and he did, and
According to who?
then
According to both of them, or just one?
this is according to Jerry
Micah.
Jones.
Jerry said
Jerry
he. Okay.
Jones.
Okay. All
So
right. He
yeah,
said
yeah,
he did.
yeah. They had a handshake agreement that was it, and then Mike is like, I want to get my attorney involved, and the attorney's like, that's not the deal. So I think that burned or rubbed Jerry the wrong way. As I mean, your word is your bond,
Yeah.
and if you want to work through your attorney, then don't have the conversation in the first place.
Yeah,
I
and
would
Jerry, I'm
say,
sure, is not used to
so
being rubbed the wrong way. As a friend of Bob Kraft, I'm sure he likes to be rubbed the right way. I'm sure
The
there's,
right way.
there's a right way and a wrong way. Ask Bob Kraft and
Massages
Justin
are
Tucker.
important. They help
You know what I'm
relax you,
saying?
you know?
Yeah,
So
apparently,
yes. So unfortunately,
allegedly,
we did
allegedly.
lose him, but we did lose Micah. Um, he's a great pass rusher. 100%, no question. He's a great pass rusher. Didn't make a difference last year. Yeah, I mean, we didn't have a quarterback in place as well, but
Wait, are you saying
um,
Cooper Rush is not a starting quarterback in NFL?
yeah.
Because he's
So
he's on our team. He's on the Ravens now, so I'm hoping he's good. I know Lamar Jackson's our starter, but still, you're saying Cooper Rush shouldn't be leading an NFL team? Is that what you're saying?
I don't think for several games. I think he's good to step in during a good Thanksgiving game or something, you know. So he does do well during the spotlight, but several it seems a little challenging. So um, I don't know if we lose very much by losing Micah. I think we could get people in place and such, but we also haven't shown that. You know, our preseason wasn't the greatest. And I was surprised we won our last game, to be honest. But
You put
we
stakes in the preseason. You mean anything into the preseason
I
games?
never
Because
have put
I put
no
no.
attention,
Oh,
zero
okay.
attention to the preseason. I was called by one of my sons. I said, "Did you? We won the game," and I was like, "That's amazing! I didn't know we were going for that." So, it's more about trying people out. I do think you need to put more starters in at the end though, so you can actually see what they're ready for. Get that first hit before the actual season starts. I think that's important. I don't know why we don't do that more. I know some teams do, but the philosophy mostly is to sit your starters. But I think they need to get hit in the mouth a little bit before game one.
Well, you don't think they
And
may get some hits during practice? Because
nah,
when you have
no.
first team offense versus first team defense, you think they're not
No,
really trying? Okay,
no. I think they're red shirted. I think they're red shirted. It's not a thing.
okay.
So it's going to be interesting to see what happens after Dak's been gone for so long. I think it would have been good for him to get smacked in the mouth before the Eagles game. So that's really a scary time. I mean, the funny thing is, Mike is going to Green Bay and he's sitting out the first game because of injuries. So
Is he really?
yeah.
Interesting.
But
Okay.
the Cowboys get 2 first-round picks. What they do with it, who knows if Jerry's in charge because he hasn't really been great at picking from the combine. So I don't know. I mean, it could be a good thing for us if it's well played, but he hasn't really shown that he's great at that since Jimmy Johnson left. To be honest with you, it just
Well, yeah.
hasn't been the same. And he thought he could do it all over again, and here we are 30 years later, and I know Jimmy Johnson's got to be laughing every time the season ends. So, yeah.
Well,
Sim-
you may not think much is going on with your, that's material to your team, uh, but I am hopeful for the Ravens. I must admit for this year. But let me tell you, my favorite soundbite of the week that I heard was I'm gonna call it a cold open because I know that Saturday Night Live does cold opens
yeah.
from Sports Center by Elle Duncan, right? So Elle Duncan, she's one of the female sportscasters for Sports Center, and I actually wrote it down. When I heard it, I was like, did she really say what I think she said? So I'm gonna tell you what she said, and I want to see what your reaction is. This was on Tuesday. This was on this past Tuesday, so a week ago today. She said there is an NFL relationship that is not going so well. Micah Parsons, Holden continues, and like all good breakups, we've had unhealthy back and forths, threats of leaving, scrubbing of social media, and laying around acting disinterested while your boo works really hard. What do you hear when you hear her say that? Well, you hear me say that she said that, but she said it. I actually went back and made sure I heard it right. What do you hear there?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like he was disinterested in being there in the first place. He didn't feel like this was his connection. He deserved more. He felt entitled to more, and he was going to be sitting around until he got what he thought that he deserved. So, and I know it's a game of egos, 100%. It's a business, but I'm sorry, 40 million to 47 million you'll not spend in your lifetime, and that's only for a 4-year deal.
Mm-hmm.
Which means if he stays healthy, he could easily play for another 3 to 4 years after that. maybe.
Theoretically, but
It won't be for that kind of money.
Right.
So.
This is his time to get the money, right? This is time to get the money.
You're
but
still not living on $120 million, $160 million. It doesn't happen. You're not doing that. Just generational wealth that what?
Well,
what's the difference in that
what did he
$7
get?
million?
What did he get from Green Bay? Wasn't it like $180 something? I don't know. I thought he got something real, like some astronomical pay. But you missed it.
They're giving him $47 million a season for 4 years.
Okay, versus 40. Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Oh, so you're saying you would turn down a 25% raise, essentially. It sounds like what you're saying to me. I mean, if I'm understanding you correctly.
He was hoping for the 47. He didn't have it. He had bird in hand of 40.
And he got it. But how can you argue with what he did if he got 47? He was offered 40. He said no, essentially, it sounds like, and then he got 47. How can you argue with that? You wouldn't turn down that.
You wouldn't turn it down. If that's the team you want to play for, then that's the team you want to play. Look what Dirk did. I mean, Dirk turned down money because he just wanted to stay in Dallas. He loved playing in Dallas. He liked the fans in Dallas. He wanted to stay in Dallas. He turned it, and I think that's the difference in I want to say it's a different thought when you want to stay franchise in one area. So.
Yeah, well, it's real easy for us who are not the ones who have to make those financial decisions to go, loyalty should be over money. But we don't do that oftentimes. Oftentimes we will take money over loyalty. Somebody offers us a better number at a different place. We go to that other place and take that additional money, right? We're trying to move up, and because our primary responsibility is not to the employer or not to the fans of the employer,
right?
But to our families, to ourselves, and to our families, right? And we have to do that. Sure. But more than anything, you missed the entire thing. I'm going to read back what she said. I need you to hear what she said. She said, there is an NFL relationship that is not going so well. Micah Parsons' hold-in continues, and like all good breakups, we've had unhealthy back and forth, threats of leaving, scrubbing of social media, and laying around acting disinterested while your boo works really hard. You're not hearing that?
It sounds like she had a bad relationship at some point.
She just made a personal reference to herself going all cowgirl on her partner while her partner lays there in bed disinterested. You didn't pay attention to that. You're so focused on.
I did.
You didn't react to it. You just. I mean, that's all I heard.
I'm not assuming.
I heard nothing about the Dallas Cowboys at that point. All I saw was a visual of what she was describing, and I was like, did she really just say that on like prime time?
Yes.
Or
I think it's just a great analogy. It's a great analogy. It's not real. She doesn't have this guy laying around at home doing nothing. I'm sure.
I don't know what her husband does or doesn't do. I'm pretty sure she's married. I don't know what she does or doesn't do. Or what she does or doesn't do. While her husband is the one working hard. I don't know. Shoot.
Right. So I think, we've all seen TV shows, movies where people are like that, and that's a thing. So I like to believe that she's not putting her personal life out there for everyone. But, yeah. It's very specific, though. I tell you, it's very specific the way that she did.
It was very specific.
Yes.
Have you ever been the boo?
No. I think I always been in relationships where been working. Yeah, both.
No, the boo is the one who works really hard.
Yeah.
One person lays around acting disinterested while the boo works really hard. Have you
I've
ever
always
been
in relationships where my people are as ambitious as I am. My partners have usually been pretty ambitious, are always working. I haven't had anyone sitting around at home doing nothing. So
okay, so you are still not getting this reference. I'm going to be explicit now. She is talking about sex. She's talking about one person lying there and the other person working their ass off. That's what she's talking about. She's not talking about somebody working a job, talking about somebody putting in some work. And the other person just lying there acting disinterested.
Okay.
That's what I heard.
That's more explicit than I was thinking. Okay, I was thinking just the job.
Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to say it again, and I want to know what you think. There is an NFL. I heard this immediately. It was like, did she just say that? There is an NFL relationship that is not going so well. Micah Parsons' hold-in continues. And like all good breakups, so it's a personal relationship reference.
Sure.
Like all good breakups, we've had unhealthy back and forth, threats of leaving, scrubbing of social media, laying around acting disinterested while your boo works really hard. That's what she said.
Okay.
To me, that was her personalizing that, talking about her boo laying around acting disinterested while she works really hard.
Wow.
So have you ever been the boo? That's my
Yeah.
question.
Probably have been the boo. Yeah. So probably why I've been divorced a couple of times there. So.
Well, you don't have to be divorced to have been the boo or to have had
Uh,
been the other person, right? You don't have to, that
yeah.
doesn't require actually being divorced. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
but I'm telling you, there's
There's
a reason why
ebbs
you
and
leave, you
flows.
know. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, but there's it is disheartening as well, you know, and you're in a situation like that too, because there a buddy of mine once said, "There's always in a relationship, there's always one person who wants to be in that relationship more than the other person."
Mm,
And I don't know if that's necessarily always true when you find the right one, but I think when you're always made those compromises where maybe it's 60% right or 70% right, and you ignore the other 30 or 40 that is not connecting,
mm.
um, there's always one person that's a little more worried about the relationship ending. Another person who could care less if their relationship is ending. You know, one person
Well,
that has to
care
put the
less is a
work in.
strong, that's a strong, dichotomy or variance.
Yeah, no, I think that's it. You know, it's like if you want to go, go. You know, like there's that person in the relationship that, you know, I'm not going to play games and this is who I am. And, you know, I'm not into you as much as you're into me situation. So that's just for whatever reason, that's just the way it is. And you happen to have won them maybe by a thin margin, or they just decided to settle. And that's on either side, you know, is what I'm
Mhm.
talking about. Because I remember a lot of people ask me, you know, why did you marry so young? And I was like, all my friends were getting married, so I thought that was a thing to do. And I just thought it was going to be like a movie and someone was going to stop it at some point. Like, this just doesn't make
Well, War of the
sense.
Roses was a movie, so I mean, it could have been a movie. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's some movies that could be after.
Yeah, but I was hoping someone may have interfered in my first marriage and like would come running in like, stop, this isn't the thing, or my best man said something and would have stopped it from happening. Because the whole time I was just like, what am I doing in here? You know, like
Mm.
what's going on? And yeah, so it is one of those things where it makes sense when I heard it. When I heard him say one person's always more into the relationship than the other. Now it's that other person trying to work harder than the other to try to make it work. And that gets frustrating after a while, and that gets old. And that's where the eventual breakup comes. And the question is, who makes the move first? Because what's interesting is, let's say you're the person that's not really interested in the relationship,
Right.
and you've been treating this person pretty bad for a while. You're just like, whatever, you
Mm-hmm.
know.
Mm-hmm.
And then they decide they're the ones leaving. Now you're like, what the heck? Wait, hold on, maybe, wait, baby, we can make this work. You know, like they made the decision before you were ready to make the decision, even though you were
Right.
kind of out of it. It feels very different, right? Because you were never into it, you were never bought in. But the fact that they cut the cord before you were ready to cut the cord,
Right.
that's a different feeling right there. You know, so
Yeah.
and I think that's everywhere though. That's not just in relationships. That's jobs. You know, like how many times do you sit around with people that are like, I hate my job. This job sucks. Like, can't stand going in every day. And then the boss calls them in and, hey man, we got to lay people off. Like, no, this is my job. I need this job. And you're like, wait a second.
People are averse to change, right? You
You
know what I'm saying?
know,
Like, yeah, yeah. They
you
want to be the
know.
ones in control, is what they want to. They want to be the
Yes.
ones in control. But I will
Yeah.
say that I've heard your friends comment a little bit differently. I've heard that many relationships have seasons, right? And in those
Yeah.
seasons, there may be
Yeah.
individuals, specifically to your point, or what you made, there may be individuals, someone who is trying, people may be trying harder at different times, right? So it definitely shouldn't be the case where one person is always trying harder for the entire duration of the relationship and someone else is always trying harder. I think
Yeah.
that can lead to challenges, but I think that there are times um, when each person sort of waxes and wanes in terms of their commitment, in terms of their what effort they're putting into it. And it goes back and forth, right? And so, they say it's supposed to be 50-50, and what they say is often it's 100-100, right? You're supposed to put 100% in, and you expect them to give 100, but at some point you have to at least equal 100. And it's not always going to be some sort of 50-50 split, right? It just depends on what's going on with you personally, what's going on in your life,
Sure.
that sort of thing that sort of has that impact about what that ultimately sort of looks like at any given moment. So, but whenever you're the person who's, less than 100%, you feel like you're justified for being that way. And if you're the person who's giving more than that, you wonder why the other person isn't sort of holding their weight,
Right.
in those moments. But yeah, that can be difficult sort of situation for people to be in as they're trying to navigate. And I will say that I think that a lot of times people give up is a strong word, but those are the times where, because you are deciding what you think should be, you end up making a permanent decision, when in reality, what you didn't realize sometimes is that you were just in a season. You were just in a season where
Sure.
you were giving more and they were giving less. But maybe if they gave up in the season where they were giving more and you were giving less, it would have ended at another point, right? So, so I think that's part of it, right? I think that's the difference between, sort of when people have challenges or they have problems that end the relationship. It's just a function of whether or not you think this is a temporary thing or whether you think this is permanent, and what your perspective is on those things. But sometimes it's a permanent thing, right? That's always the case, where one person's giving more, another person's giving less, and they got to be like, somebody has to determine what their self-worth is. But a lot of times I think there is some waxing and waning that goes on, and some trends, some switching of positions that happen between the two people that are in a relationship. So
I think that that's important to recognize too, is that it's not always 50-50 or 100-100. Those aren't things. It's I'm going to have a bad week and I'm going to be 30%. And I need my significant other to pull up the other 70%. And then she's going to have a bad week where she'll be at 25, and I'm going to have to pull up that 75,
right,
and I'm going to have to step up, and we have to balance each other. And that's what a partnership should be. Now, the the question becomes now, is when you have the downturns, how long do those downturns last?
yeah,
And how long are you willing to put up with a downturn? Whether that's you being slighted, whether that's you being lazy,
mm-hmm.
whether it's you being overwhelmed with work and putting personal to the side. Because I know
Or
it
whether
be
that's you, laying around acting disinterested while your boo works really hard,
We're
according
works
to
really
Elle
hard, right,
Duncan.
right. That's terrible, So, are you almost done? That's not something you want to say to somebody, So,
Wait, so you
you
said that
shouldn't.
to somebody, Eric?
No, I would never, never,
Are
never
you
say
are
that.
you
So,
almost
so almost
done?
done. Are you
I
almost
think I
done
would be
now? So,
done with sex
yeah.
at that point. If
So,
somebody said that shit to me, like, are you done
right,
yet? I'm like, Jesus
right.
Christ.
Yeah. Could you
Yeah.
finish up now? So that'd be great. So, yeah.
Listen,
No.
they have the
Uh,
breath to say that full sentence. I'm offended. I'm offended at that immediately. Like, why can you breathe like that? I'm not
yes.
doing my job apparently, or something. You
No,
know what I'm saying?
no, they're just, where's your head at right now? Like
Yeah,
football,
yeah.
what's going on? But for a lot of us, work gets in the way of our relationships more than
Oh
it
yeah.
probably should.
Oh yeah.
And I know the ideal would be you're going to date your significant other forever. Which I should think is sweet. I think it's cute to talk about. And I think we should always be trying to um, win our significant other for sure. I think that's an
Well, because if
important
we aren't,
thing.
somebody
So
else will.
correct. If we don't give the attention, and I think we forget about that when we're overwhelmed with what's going on. But so are they. They're working too, and they're
Mm.
still looking to make us a priority sometimes. And it is a tough thing to say. I need to get out of my own head. And it may take me a minute. Like I'm going to force a situation so far as we're going to go to dinner, and I made plans. We're going to go to dinner. We're going to get out of the house and we're going to do something. And I'm still in
Right.
my own head, and it might take a while for me to get there. And I don't like taking a while sometimes because I know she can read me like a book. She knows
Yeah, I
when
heard you don't take a while, so that's the
my
thing why I
head's
heard
not
about you.
my head's not in the right place,
You
and
don't take a
yeah,
while, so
I
yeah.
don't take a while, man. For me, it takes a while. So,
Dragging the word out doesn't make it sound right.
so anyhow, I'm just saying like it's a partnership in a real way so far as you got to have that balance of that person having your back and then knowing that they know you have their back when they have a
Mhm.
down week and they're down, and it's your job then to be their biggest cheerleader. And sometimes we both need cheering at the same time. And I know I've said to my woman a couple of times where it's like, hey, we both can't be down the same day. It's like we have too much to do, So we one of us has got to get over this part, So but it's a thing to just be aware of as well. I think that's important is that we recognize that we're there to support each other,
Right.
and we try to pull up the other weight for the other person when they're overwhelmed and there's too much going on. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, so far as that expression, I could see where it makes sense. And he was doing nothing. He wasn't practicing. He wasn't working out.
Well, it
Um,
was a hold in. So he hold out is when you don't show up. He showed up.
He showed up and did nothing, and he was causing problems in the locker room, and he's
Oh,
talking
was he really?
trash. Oh yeah, man. I mean, he was not a motivator. He wasn't one of the ones standing on the sidelines. I mean, he was getting other people to try to get their contracts done too.
Oh,
People that
was
were
he?
going to wait. He's like, misery loves company. Hey, why don't you try getting your contract done now too? I mean, see what they
Mm.
do to you. See how they treat you. So yeah, he's a great talent.
I did
Awesome,
heard that
and
he was laying around on like one of the workout, like he was like, sort of just chilling, like
mhm.
laying around. So I get that a little bit. I get that a
Yeah,
little bit.
I'm here. Just don't find me. Just don't, Marshawn Lynch. I'm only here because I don't want to be fined,
All right. Yeah.
So, and then, he ends up retiring early and doing commercials, So,
Where he's spraying deodorant on his junk.
yeah, everywhere. It goes everywhere.
Everywhere, everywhere. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, we don't need to see all of that.
No,
And my wife was like, "Can we see more, please?" You know what
no,
I'm saying? So
that's just wrong. We don't need to see that.
yeah,
So,
no, if it's a dude. If it's a woman, then show it all. But if it's a dude,
what's interesting also, speaking of football, is in Texas, they already crowned Arch Manning just because of his name. And
he sucked.
well, it was a rough start. It was definitely a rough start.
Something other than he sucked. Are you trying to say he didn't suck?
So
You're trying to say he
I'm
was
just saying, like, I don't know. Maybe he did as bad as um, the former Patriots coach against
Belichick?
TCU.
No.
Belichick didn't do so well against TCU. So, see you wearing the purple colors today too. So,
Yeah, I think
yeah,
this is
it
something
was
other than purple. I don't know what it is. It's not purple. Terica
yeah. Plum
will
looks
kill
good
me.
though.
Yeah, maybe
So,
plum.
yeah.
Plum is maybe more appropriate. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But yeah,
Yeah.
so Belichick had it handed to him. Arch had it handed to him. Not a great start to the season for either one of them. I think surprised a lot of people, and they're already talking Heisman and championships, and before the games even started. So I think some of those conversations have now got to start to change a little bit as well. So
Well, the pontiffs, what do you call it? The people who their job is to speculate, whatever
they're
those
definitely
people are
not the
called.
pontiffs, though. But
What yeah, not pontiff. What is it? The not something. The
prognosticators,
people who
yeah.
just their job is to just express their opinion. They had to have something to talk about, right? And so
Yeah.
and so that he didn't play much, if I'm not mistaken, last year. And so
2 years. He was benched for the last two
yeah,
years, and he had
so
opportunities to go other places, and he chose not to go. He sat the old-fashioned way. Yeah, yeah,
well, he has to earn his right now. But I think they just
correct.
needed somebody to say who was going to be the thing, the success story this year. And they were, at least for the first game,
Yeah,
they were wrong. But it's not how you, it's it's not how you,
not how
it's
you
not how you
start, it's
start.
how
It's
you
how you,
finish.
it's how you finish. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying? At least that's what my wife tells me. So I try very hard
try
to
very
keep that
hard.
part in mind. No, you
Try,
can't. I'm
don't be
talking
the
about
boo.
sports now. To keep that part
Don't
in
be the
mind.
boo. Oh yeah,
Keep
right.
that
Yes,
part in mind. You know
that's
what I'm
what I
saying?
thought. Yeah,
So
try hard. So
yeah.
yeah,
So, but are you playing any fantasy football at all?
I don't ever do fantasy football. Yeah, no,
Why is that?
I've never got into fantasy football. I'm lazy. is what it comes down to. I don't have time to just go and try to put together a team. I can't keep up with all the players out there. I don't care that much. Maybe in the 90s when I was younger, it was more of a thing where I knew more players out there. But as I've gotten older, I just not so much. I just don't keep up with it. You in any of those leagues?
I'm in two leagues, and here's the thing:
Really? Two
I'm not a
leagues?
big fantasy football person. It's not like I go out and want
Yeah,
to start my own league, but I've had people that have asked me to be a league. So I'm in one with the chapter of my fraternity, and I'm in one with a former boss of mine has a league, and it makes it fun. What I will tell you is it does make the watching the games fun, because now it's not just about the one or couple of teams that you might be interested in. Now you're interested in all over. Different players playing in almost every game you have sort of an interest
sure.
in, whether you're
Yeah,
rooting for them because they're on your team or you're rooting against them because they're on whoever your opponent is that particular week. So it does make it kind of fun. I don't know anything about it. So I spend probably a couple of days before it's time to do the draft to doing my research and trying to figure out who I should draft and all that sort of stuff. And then I jack up the draft anyway. But and then it becomes sort of just a little bit of fun throughout the week. Anything that's competitive, anything that's competition, I'm down for it. I want to find something where I can talk some smack to somebody, even when I'm losing. It's just fun to be
yeah.
trying to
You're
do
about to come
something.
back anytime now. Yeah. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
Now, here's what I will say. What I will say is I'm never terrible in my fantasy football leagues. I don't know why, because it's not like I know a lot about football. It's not like I follow a bunch of players. I don't. I do research before I do the
yeah.
drafts each time in terms of who to be focused on and what the strategy should be in terms of when you should draft different positions in different rounds and things like that. But aside from that, I don't follow a lot of it, but I somehow am not terrible. I'm usually definitely in the top half almost always, and probably in the top quarter most of the time. Which for somebody who's not like a huge football person, I'm a Ravens fan, and that's pretty much it. I think that's not bad. So
Now you're pissing off the people you play with right now just by saying that, because they're doing their research and they
well,
watch all the stuff. They watch college football, know who the upcoming players should be. They're becoming on the team and everything, and you're like, if it's not Morgan State, I don't know who's
listen,
playing.
I need somebody else can do all of the work, and I'm just gonna pay attention to the articles they publish and the listings that they put out, and I'll do my best from there. So I'm not
Yeah.
gonna not going to spend too much time. But I will say that there was one particular thing that I was in. I was doing very good for. By the way, this is my tendency. I don't know what happened. My tendency is to actually do good early, and then to sort of fade off at the end. So most of the
You don't
last
do
2
trades
years,
or something? You don't change
I
up your
definitely don't do
players?
trades. Who trades? Well,
Okay.
maybe I do
I
do
mean,
trades.
someone's
I don't know.
injured and you're still playing them and you're
If
like getting
somebody's
no
injured,
points.
I would trade them, but I don't
Yeah.
sort of have that. I don't have some sort of crazy strategy associated with it. I just, if I need more players because I got a bye week coming up where I'm not going to have enough players or something like that, that's a different story. And I got people hurt, but I don't do a ton of stuff. But I will say that somehow that by the end of the year, I end up getting somebody ends up whooping my butt, and it's frustrating because I feel like for the first like 10 to 12 weeks of the year, I tend to be doing good. And then all of a sudden I just fade out. It's like my real life. You know what I'm saying? Doing really good for a period of time. And then at some point, I'm just laying around acting disinterested. I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Are
So
you almost done yet?
are you almost done? You done yet?
Is the season
Are you
almost
done
over?
yet? Are you over yet? What time is it? I gotta get up early.
I can't believe they added an extra game to the season. Are you
Yeah,
kidding me? So I
So
was doing so good at 12. So
yeah.
who do I have to keep going? Dang. So
Yeah.
yeah.
What was it? Stamina. That's not my, I'm not even
No,
gonna fake
stamina's
that.
not your thing.
Stamina
Yeah.
is my
No.
thing for sure. No, that's all.
No, it's
No.
not even close to your thing. Yeah. So 5 minutes
But
is good. So no,
you
other
saying
than that,
like sarcastic. You shouldn't say that sarcastic. That's like
no,
real.
no,
5 minutes
5 minutes
is
is
good.
amazing. That's an
Yes.
awesome way
It,
to
it might be
go.
the best 5 minutes of your life,
Best 5 minutes of
but
someone's life.
you know,
So probably
three
it's
and a
not
half minutes,
mine.
something,
No.
whatever
So
the number is, it doesn't matter.
yes. So this is beginning of football season on Thursday, and are you going to be watching the Thursday game, or are you just going to watch when Baltimore plays?
I'm so in one of my leagues, I know for sure I don't have anybody playing on Thursday. So it depends on if I have somebody in the other league that's either on my team or not on my team playing on Thursday.
Yeah.
So I have to see. But I will say that I tend to, especially when I have fantasy football, try to watch all the games. So I will tend to watch the Thursday game. I will tend to watch on Sunday, and then I will tend to watch on Monday night. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see.
Mm.
But I haven't gotten into it yet. We did the draft. One of the drafts I actually fully missed. Like I didn't even know it was happening. The guy was like,
Yeah.
Are you gonna do it?" And I was like, "It's tonight." And he was like, "Yeah." I was like, "All right." And then the other draft, I was coming back from work when they were doing it, and I wasn't able to sort of get on. I was driving when the draft started. So I wasn't able to really actively do it. So I didn't have a great draft. I had a pretty poor draft. And I'm officially on record putting it out there in this forum so that when I lose that particular league, they know
It's on
why
notice.
I lost that
On
league. I was
notice.
driving when I was driving. If you let
Yeah.
the computer auto draft, you would have done better than me trying to do it in real time while I'm driving. So just putting that out there. And if I happen to win, then now you have no excuse because I whooped your butt, even though I was driving while we were drafting. So
Are you that husband that disappears during football season? Like your wife has plans and you're like, Thursdays, Sundays, Mondays, don't count on me. And Saturdays going into January and December,
no, no.
you'll skip games to go do
Yeah,
events.
it's a one you can record every game that happens,
Yeah.
right? And so I mean, my favorite team is the Ravens, and most of the time I record the Ravens and either watch them start a delayed watch, like if it's a 1 o'clock game, I'll start watching at like 2 or 2:30, and then sort of fast forward through the commercials, or I will watch it later. So no, I'm not that person who has to watch the games live. And most of the time, even when I record a game, I don't always watch it after the fact, right? So if the Ravens win and I recorded it, I'll watch it. But if they happen to lose or get blown or something crazy happened, then a lot of
So
times
you'll
I'll watch
find
it.
out the results before you watch the game even.
I
So you're not
often
that
will.
person like no one talk to me. I don't want to know what's going on with the game right now. It's no,
No, I
you're not
don't
doing that.
announce
So
it. But if somebody says, like, let me give you an example. So, for example, if let's say the Ravens are playing at 1 and I'm out with some friends at like 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, but we're not out watching the game, and somebody goes, "Oh, did you hear about it?" I'm like, "Hey, don't say anything because I'm recording the game and I'm going to go home and watch it." So I
yeah.
will say something like that. But if it's like after the fact, I'm like, "It's just life, man. You're going to find out," and I'm going to find out most of the time anyway. It's just hard not to know, you
Yeah, I
know.
got in trouble because I think it was the game. The Cowboys were getting ready to get into the playoffs, or they were in the playoffs, and they
What was it,
lost
1985? When were they in the
last
playoffs?
year.
They were in the playoffs last year.
Last year. Well, they never get past the first round. They
So
they
what did they
get to
expand the playoffs to, like all 32 teams? Like how did the
that's
Cowboys
it.
make it to the
Anyone can get
playoffs?
in now. So, but a
Apparently.
buddy of mine was at his girlfriend's parents' place or whatever, and he tells me he's watching the game. So I said, "Man, can you believe they're getting blown out right now like this? It's unbelievable." And he's like, well, thanks for that, man, because we recorded it and we're just starting the game." Well, then you need to
Ah,
start. No, I'm sorry. You need to start with that. Like, hey, we're getting ready to watch the game because it was recorded, not we are watching the game as if I'm in the same place you are right now. So I felt bad for doing a spoiler like that because
right.
you have no expectations when you're watching a game like that. There's no excitement or anything because you just got to hand it to them. So yeah, but if you want to preface it with, "Hey, how's it going? I'm getting ready to start the game. Don't talk to me about the game." Cool. I won't have to say
I have
anything.
done that.
So
I have done that where I
yeah,
start with, especially if it's somebody who is another Ravens fan or something. I think they might be sort of about to tell me like, "Oh, blah, blah." I'm like, "Blah, blah, blah." Don't tell me. So yes, if you're that person,
yeah.
you do have to say something. But what I will say in this particular case is, in case your friend happens to watch this podcast, it was completely Erick's fault.
I'm
He
sure it
should
was my
not have
fault. So
spoiled it for you. So it's not your fault to tell Eric. It was
it's
Eric's
usually
fault.
my fault. Most things are my fault. Yeah. If
As
I've
long as you
only
know,
thought
see, do you
I
have,
should
look
have
at
been
it?
more sensitive to the fact that I've known what he was doing,
You're learning.
over at
You're
the other
learning.
house. Yeah. So that's it. So I come
Just
up with
take
an idea
responsibility. It's
and
all
I go
you,
with
man.
it. So it is me. It is me. So anyhow, the last bit of news I have for you is I'm starting a new job this week.
Really?
I got my consulting job with a
Nice.
chiropractic company. So,
Nice. You know why it happened, right? Because you put
um,
Erick Richey Consulting on this podcast that has not actually been released to anybody yet. Actually, even though we're recording the first episode, we're recording a bunch and to release them all at the same time. But that's why I did it, because you said it. You said it on at the end of
yes, I
this.
put it out
You
there
put it
and it
out there, and
happened.
now that's what
So,
happened. That's
so
what's
I've
up.
done
Okay.
retail now. I've done garage doors, and this will be my first chiropractic company. Small business. So,
Nice.
looking forward to meeting with the doctor tomorrow and going over the plan and everything. But yeah, really excited about it.
That is
So
exciting, man. You know what I'm
it's
saying?
always nerve-wracking going into an industry you don't know, but you don't know any industry until you go into it for the first time, which is the interesting part about looking for jobs because, for a while there, I was COO, right?
Hmm.
And you're applying to other COO jobs, and they're like, well, you weren't in this industry, and it's like, does it matter that I was in that industry if I'm running the operations? Like, I can learn your
Yeah.
industry. What you're hurting on is operations, and it was a real challenge because people who aren't in operations felt that they knew the decisions that needed to be made in hiring to
Mm-hmm.
fill these positions, and it's very specific to the point where it's like, why post it? Just move up your director of operations person. If you feel
Right.
like that person needs to have that specific industry knowledge, then just pull them up. But I believe operations can go anywhere because it's how a company should be run.
Right.
And once you know how to do that, it doesn't matter the industry. And I truly believe that. And there might be people out there that want to argue that fact, but show me where it's made a difference. So show me where it's made any difference. Was it the head of Pepsi went over to Microsoft at one point? Like,
Right. Yeah.
people just move around all over at CEO levels. Why wouldn't they do it at COO levels as well? And yeah, I don't believe you need to have industry knowledge. And I also don't like the whole 8 years, 10 years, 20 years experience before getting something. I think once you've done something for a period of time, um, you have experience. You pretty much understand how business works.
Right.
And it's weird when they put in random years of experience needed to even get through the gatekeepers, which is usually a computer these days, that will even spit over what what applications are acceptable or not acceptable. So
Well, I think part of it though is that the people who are doing the hiring have created oftentimes this ideal candidate that they think will come in. So you say operations doesn't matter, right? But in their mind, they're like, well, we're going to get someone who has 20 years of operations, but also has 15 years of experience in this field, and also has this, and also has this, like this ideal person. And sometimes, depending on the industry and what's going on in the job market, maybe that person exists, and their efforts to recruit reach out to those sort of people that they may do, but a lot of times they end up having to adjust their expectations, as they get a little bit closer, and they often and sometimes they may even find themselves having overlooked people. The problem is they don't know that they've overlooked them. They don't know, right? They don't know that they screened out people who would have been the perfect person for them. And so I think that's part of the challenge as well, is that, we just have these people have these ideals about what exactly, same way that people who are dating, right? There's that deal, like, think about somebody who gets divorced or breaks up, and they were like, my next person is going to be this person, right? They're going to be, they're going to be this person who is a 9 out of 10 on the beauty scale, and they're going to be a reasonable human being, and they're going to be incredibly successful in their personal life, and they're going to be super nice, and they're going to, and what sometimes you don't realize is that person does exist, but guess what? They don't want you. Like, they have better options than you if they have all that experience. And the same thing happens with companies, right? Those people that you're looking for might, with all of those very specific subsets of experience, may exist, but oftentimes they don't want you. And sometimes it takes sort of being out there in the hiring/dating market in order to figure that out before you go, okay, all right, so I'm going to go ahead and take this person who has 3 years of experience in our industry or no years of experience in our industry, but brings all this other stuff to the table. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, they're a 7 out of 10 or a 6 out of 10, but they're also nice, and they're looking for somebody like me. That's often what you end up doing. So it's life. But
I think as someone who's done a lot of hiring, the experience, the resume gets you in the door. It's the
mhm,
personality that you end up hiring. Can you work for this person? Is this person trainable? Is this person motivational? Is this person going to be doing what we need in our company?
right,
And that's what you're really looking for, because once you get in, outside of saying, well, why did you leave there, or what did you accomplish over there, which is already on the resume and should
right,
be on the cover letter, then it comes down to, do you have chemistry that you think this person can bring to the table, so and that's it. And it seems like a large swath of that I've seen of people getting hired are people that know people within the company itself.
Yeah,
and says,
yeah,
"Hey, can you look at my buddy's resume over here? It looks like there's a good connection with you guys. Might be worth talking to, you know." So I know I've been here for a while, and I think he's someone worth fitting in. And they're like, "Cool, all right," because I'm looking out here, and I don't know. I'm having a hard time finding anyone on LinkedIn or
right,
Career Builders or wherever they're looking up as a recruiter, and they're looking for someone to be referred to them by someone that they know. They're like, "Hey, you understand our expectations and what we're looking for. So if you get a referral from somebody inside, I think that gives you a big heads up over just cold throwing it in." And that's even when, I mean, by throwing in your resume online or through their gateway, even if you're a rebound employee, that doesn't guarantee you getting in unless you have somebody inside there that's still willing to vouch for you that said, "All right, this person left, but I know they want to come back and they'd be a great fit." Then they
right.
talk to them. But if you just say, "I want to come back," they're like, "You left for a reason in the first
Mm-hmm.
time," you know? So having a hard time justifying bringing you back in, you know, even though you may not even talk to them about why they left.
Yeah,
Why did they, was it a huge money increase? Was it a title increase? You know, like what was the opportunity that would make sense to even you, the hiring person, that they said, "Hey, we want to make you head of HR," you know, because you've
right.
been a recruiter for 10 years and we think you know what you're doing. Like, who wouldn't take that opportunity? But they seem to have higher expectations than needed sometimes.
Yeah,
I think in the process of hiring. Plus, the market out there is just so tight. People can be
right
as
now.
specific
Yeah,
as they want to be right now, and it is like dating. You know, like you can have those high standards and you can have those high limitations, and there's even apps that say this person meets 75% of what you're meeting. Are you willing to still move forward with that person? Well, after
right,
you haven't had a few hits for a while, you're willing to hit 30% of my like,
right. Yeah,
are
you
they
know.
breathing right now? Because that's the standard I'm looking
Yeah,
for
exactly,
for
exactly.
dating, when I have had no hits because my standards were so high that I couldn't get anybody to talk to me, you know, and I kept turning down everybody. And I think the same thing happens in business as well. Is like you said, they go from those years of experience to saying, "Okay, who's willing to work for this company that can maybe have some impact or some influence," you know?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, one thing I would add to that, though, I think is you talked about you don't get much in the interview, but one thing that I think is helpful to me, and part of the reason why I'm actually a fan of the behavioral based questions versus the hypothetical questions is because I get a sense into their thought process and how they problem solve and how they deal with things, and I think that is also very helpful when you're trying to, you know, decide on hiring somebody is how do they process things, how do they think through the different challenges that they may have, that they're going to likely encounter when they're working for you, and how do they get to those outcomes, because I think those things are going to be helpful. It's in terms, you know, there's fit, but then I think there's also sort of the critical thinking skills I think is helpful to sort of
So you
helpful to
do a
figure
lot of
out.
interviewing. What's one of your favorite behavioral questions that you like to hit people with, that you say, "Okay, this is a difference maker, this behavioral question"?
So my memory, you know, I'm a terrible historian because I have a bad memory, but what I would say is it's something along the lines of, uh, tell me about a time when you had a problem, where the solution wasn't going to be acceptable to you or to the person you were dealing with. How did you negotiate a solution? What was the actual situation? How did you negotiate the solution, and what was the outcome? And how did you socialize that with all the parties involved? That's that version of it where nobody's going to be happy. You know,
Yeah.
nobody's going to be happy. Now, what did you do in that particular
Nobody wants to
circumstance?
put themselves in a bad light. So there's a big pause for that kind of a question because they're always thinking, if I make myself sound bad right now,
Hmm.
how's this interview going to go? So how do I make it sound good? And there's a lot to that question, and I've asked that question before as well, and I've been asked that question, and it's a tough one, you know. So um, I don't envy people being on the other side of that, but
No,
I'm
interview sucks.
also
Interviewing sucks, man.
interviewing sucks, and I'm going to be re-interviewing this whole office space that I'm going into as well next week. You know, like everyone's job is going to be interviewed to see if we need to make a sweeping change, or if there's some tweaks that could be done that would get
Do they
people on
know?
board.
So
So
it sounds like their jobs could be in jeopardy. Is that fair?
correct. Oh yeah,
Do
that's
they
fair.
know when they're talking to you that their jobs could be in jeopardy?
I don't think that's my job
No, 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 no,
to tell them that, but
no, no, not when you
I don't know
tell
if the
them.
boss has told them that. I don't know if the owner has told them that or not. That's why I'm coming in.
Well, that may be
So
helpful to know because if they know their jobs are in jeopardy, or they're going to be able to suss it out early in the process, that's going to change the type of answers you get. And you need to know that because you have to essentially grade on a scale based on, what you think their perspective is. What are they thinking in their head when they're giving you the answer? Because that's going to be helpful to know when you're sort of deciding about all this. Because
so you think I should give them the heads up that their job
no,
could
no, no, no.
be
You need to have a good understanding as to whether they what they know or think.
okay. Yeah.
So that you can then grade on a scale, right? On a curve or not.
Yeah.
You can decide, oh, they know their job is in jeopardy. So their
Yeah.
answers are likely to skew this way. Or they don't think their job is in jeopardy. So maybe they're more likely to give me some honest answers, right?
I
So
think if anyone's seen Office Space at any time in their adulthood, they know when a consultant comes in, it's probably going to affect some changes,
yeah, but
like
some of them are just going to take their stapler and go into the basement office and be fine. You know what I'm saying? So
because
it
they're
just
still getting
depends.
paid. They're still
Yeah,
getting
you know what I'm
paid.
saying? So
So,
yeah.
so yeah, I think I'm the only one that can handle the paper to the customer. I hand the paper to. It's a real
Yeah.
thing. It's a real thing, and I'll take that into consideration as well. So whether we want to let them know that their job is that they're re-interviewing for their job. I guess I could say I
Yeah.
could have the owner tell them this is the plan is to have them re-interview for the position,
You
basically.
can, but
Yeah.
I'm just for clarity, I'm not suggesting that they need to know. I'm just suggesting that you need to know what they think so that
Okay.
you can evaluate their job. So an example that you could use that may allow you to not have to predetermine it, like tell them what it is or isn't, is to say, why do you think I'm here? Like, why do you think I'm here? What do you think I could do to help this organization? Right. And you get a feel from them, right? Because some people are going to go, you're here because we're failing and people need to be cut. Then people know their jobs are in jeopardy, right? Or they could go, hey, we're just trying to find ways to be more efficient, right? So some of those answers are going to give you some insights into what their thought process is. And again, which will just help you take their answers in context, the context of
Okay.
how they're approaching it, right? So it doesn't have to be something where they have to know that, right? Because you may skew the answers so much because what you don't want is to get the thing is you can take the context of their answers being a sort of a level of self-protectionism because they're worrying about their job. But if you can avoid that, that's probably even better because you're more likely to get more accurate answers. And now you don't have to
Yeah.
do that incredible sort of curving, adjusting on the curve about what they may or may not be saying because they're trying to protect their own job. You know what I'm saying? So
Sure. Usually I just go down the path of explain to me, what got you here, what your job is,
yeah,
what do you do? What do you like about it? What do you like about being here? And then we take it from there. So
yeah,
it's a pretty light conversation, but I learn a lot from them based on their answers. And then I dig
mm.
down based on their answers as well. It may have several follow-up questions.
And your
So
goal is just efficiency improvement. What is the goal
yeah,
ultimately?
it's overall. I mean, it's bad when the owner doesn't like going in to work.
Mm.
Like you own the business, dude. You can make this business anything you want it to be. And if you don't like talking to your employees, I think that's a problem,
Yeah, yeah.
So so one is let's make it a better work environment because
Hmm.
if employees are happier, then you're going to be making more money. And of course, we're going to work on improvement of efficiencies, and where the money's going and what you can do to increase those things. So I think it's both, but I think if you do one, the other follows. I've always found that if you have a happy work environment, your employees tend to work harder for you and you
Right.
get more out of them and that then your customers come back, like if you're increasing your customers, but you don't see a lot of return on them, then we got to understand that as well. And what is your part in that? Do you
Mm.
think you have any
Mm.
part in that?
Hmm.
So what can we do to get the return business and what differentiates us from all the other offices that are out there? because they're everywhere.
Right, right,
There's a lot on commercials, on TV, there's ads, there's paper, marketing everywhere. So what makes you different? And I got to get to the differentiator that people start talking about us, or start talking about my client again, and put
yeah.
him in a good light. So those are a few things that I want to do. Like, he doesn't like dealing with business. It's like those Indeed commercials where you didn't get into this business because you like paperwork.
Yeah, right,
So
right,
this is him to a T. But this was my last company as well, when I was in garage door business. So he got garage door business. He didn't like HR
right.
and having to deal with numbers and stuff, and people and personnel. So that's a large part of your business, especially as you grow. And it's not just you, a receptionist, and a tech.
Right.
So as you want to grow, it takes on a lot more that you're not prepared for because you went to medical school for this,
Mm.
or a
Or you went
chiropractic
to trade
school
school
for
for
this,
something,
or
or yeah, just
exactly.
because you're
So you're
learning
you're
for it.
good
Yeah,
at being a air conditioning guy, but you didn't know you were going to have a team of 8 people working for you.
right,
So how do you manage that? Or how do you get to having a team of 8 people work for you? Like, some people have this vision that they want to get to, and they don't know how to do it, nor do they have the time, because they're working their butts off every day
right,
to just make ends meet and take care of their customers, that they can't envision how they can possibly grow. And that's where people like me come into place, and people like you come into place, and we're there to help feed them that information, and teach them their next steps. So, and it's a lot easier than they think it is, but for them it feels out of reach, because they just don't know. They didn't go to business school.
right,
They didn't study the stuff, and they didn't grow up. They didn't go up through management. They're blue collar, and they work their butts off, and they're just trying to get to the next level instead of having to hustle all the time and being out there. It'd be
right,
better to have a team of 4 or 5 people that are doing that while you're sitting at home in the air conditioning. That's a little bit better. So that's what I talk to companies about, is how you, as the owner, can get to the next level. And that's what we're going to be working on here as well, because if this works out, then expansion can happen,
right,
for
right. Okay.
this current customer as well. So that's what he wants to do too. So yeah.
Well, good.
So it's an exciting new beginning, and it all starts tomorrow.
Well,
So we'll see
good.
how that
And
goes.
and I think that appropriately leads us into what we tend to close out with, which is who our sponsors are. So, in case people didn't get who our sponsors are, who are your sponsors, Eric?
I would say Erick Consulting. If you want
It
to
just
take your
Eric, no last
business,
name, just Eric Consulting.
you can find me either way. Erick Richey,
Okay, just
or
checking.
Eric, and yeah, I'm pretty easy, pretty low key, and if you want to get to the next level, give me a call.
Okay, so Eric Richey Consulting, his motto is he's easy. I don't know what that means exactly, but you can
Man, you
take
gotta
that
keep going back to that every
what you
time.
mean. You know what I'm saying? Just hey man, you said it. You said I'm easy.
I'm easy, you're quick. So there we
I'm
go.
easy. Yeah,
So
you know what I'm
yeah,
saying.
you're quick. So
And then so my side of things are sponsored by the GMC collection on Etsy. The GMC collection on Etsy. That one person that made an order, you got your order. Hope you're
that 2
happy.
weeks ago,
Where
that
the
was two
rest
weeks
of
ago.
you? Where the rest of you? Yeah, where the rest of you at? Also sponsored by Elevate by Bish Bates. If you want you want an exciting keynote that'll get your people inspired, check out Elevate by Bish Bates on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. And then finally, I don't know what finally is. Oh, finally, voiceover work. I do voiceover work. Why? Because just talking smack isn't enough. I need to talk smack specifically for you. So hire me to do your voiceover work, and I will turn your great project into something positively mediocre. So please go ahead and hire me, and we'll be good to go.
Next
All right.
James Earl Jones here, y'all.
The next at James Earl Jones. I am your father. All right. But I'm whoever is listening to this, I'm not your father. I just have 2 kids. All right. So all right. So that was it's good talking to you, Eric, man. This was episode 4. Episode
Four.
4. We still have not
Yep.
released any of them, by the way. So when we finally
None
do
of
release
these.
them, get them mastered and edited and released, they'll all be sort of released at the same time. So we will close out simply by saying that please don't be that person that lays around acting disinterested while your boo does all the work.
No, we're going to
Elle
say no,
Duncan, we
no,
feel
no.
for you.
Give second thoughts on things that are out there. Like think a little more. That's what we're.
Oh, that's what we're
How
saying. We're not saying
That's how
don't
we
act,
want to
lay
end
around
it.
acting disinterested.
Don't. No, we're not
How
going
about
to do
this? We
that.
have two.
Parsa.
We have two closing outs. One, don't lay
Okay.
around acting disinterested while your boo does all the work. That's the first thing we want to
Okay.
say. And the second thing we want to say is
Keep an open mind and give
an
a
open
second
mind.
thought to someone else's opinion.
There you go. There you go. All right, DJ, play our exit music. I'll talk to you next week, buddy.
Yeah, man. You take care.
You've been listening to On Second Thought with Erick, Richey, and Bish Bates, where it's never too late to rethink, rewind, and revisit the conversation. If you laughed, learned, or had your own On Second Thought moment, go ahead and subscribe, share, and leave us a review. We want to hear your thoughts. Even if you change them later, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at On Second Thought Show and join the conversation. Until next time, keep thinking, keep growing, and don't be afraid to say, you know what? On second thought,